What's going on, everyone? So let's take a look at Sundial Growers, aka SNDL stock. And market is closed when I'm filming this, and the price actually did surge up quite a bit today. So just depending on the last price you check, let's just put it here like around March 12th, and let's just measure it up. And we can see here we're looking at plus almost 14, give or take, plus percent gain in just one day, which is quite impressive, especially since Sundial has been having its pros and cons for the last few weeks. I mean, we can see here that it was downtrending for quite a bit, reaching a low of almost 94 cents, give or take. And then now we're back up into the $1.63 mark. So right now, there's definitely some anticipation of news that's going to be released in the next few days, which I'm going to share with you in just a second. So that could be a potential. And also you can see here that it is testing this resistance line like almost to the T. Like if you see this point it's touching, it's basically exactly at the same point. So depending on tomorrow and how the next few days go on, we could see this potentially break out, and then maybe we could start testing up even higher points. So potentially maybe even upwards of $2.29, give or take. And again, that's just my own opinion. Remember, this video is for entertainment purposes only. This is not financial advice. Make sure you don't research before making any investment. And again, if you want to see the potential $4 or $5 plus again, I mean, we're going to have to see some major things happening with Sundial. But for right now, recently, I'd say this news that's coming up could potentially break it out towards the $2 mark. Or we could see it sell off too early, and then next thing you know it, we drop back down to support levels, right? So let's just actually take a look. Like, what is actually going on? Why are people even talking about SNDL? So let's check this out. First article here, and you can check other websites. They say the same thing pretty much. And there's this potentially this new joint venture plan. So basically, check this out. They have this summary. The move is the latest in the Canadian cannabis firm's transformation to brand owner from flower provider. Now, pretty much they state here again, like the increase and whatnot, and they have this announcement that they teamed up with SAF Opportunities, and they're planning to form a 50-50 joint venture to focus on cannabis-related verticals. So seeking both the Canadian and then also international opportunities, which is definitely, that's where the market starts to expand even crazier. And next thing you know it, the revenues that they're going to be generating could be potentially infinite at that point. And then also, obviously, other investments too. Now, here we can see this, right? Currently, they have the interest, essentially that the Sunstream JV, they could include a Canadian special purpose, basically short for SPAC. If you guys following pretty much my channel, and I talk about SPACs all the time. And pretty much this Sunstream, they first had to pursue its initial mandates to create these special opportunities fund. And then these are with the commitments from third-party limited partners. And then also, Sundial themselves, they're going to make an initial commitment of 100 mil. So a big chunk of change to put into this. And then obviously after the initial mandate, then Sundial Grower SPAC will be on the list as an option. And then you can check down here some additional things. But another, I'd say, catalyst, something that people are watching is the earnings report. So here they're stating SNDL stock watchers wait for Wednesday earnings. So they state here that the Sundial's fourth quarter earnings report, which is supposedly scheduled for March 17th, along with its full year operating results. Now, if you've ever followed most companies, right, there's the super famous phrase, and definitely if you guys heard this, be sure to like this video so I can tell how many people know this phrase. It's buy the rumor, sell the news. So typically, you can see stock prices slowly increase and increase. Anticipation of the news coming out. Next thing you know it, people sell off like crazy. And it's not always every single time like that. Some stocks, they go up pretty much, and then they actually do really well. And then more people get into it, and maybe might consolidate a little sideways for a bit. But for the most part, sometimes it just never drops below its like original position. So again, it's something you're not going to know. But it depends, right? If the company is solid, they have actual money, net income, they're profitable, then it's going to be a little different. Sundial, obviously, you'd have to check the financials and compare your risk to reward ratio. But at least short term, that seems to be another thing that people are looking on their radar. And also, if you want to check this out, the Motley Fool has I'd say, a more detailed explanation of what's pretty much going on. And pretty much, like I mentioned, the joint venture here, but I'll read what they state because it's probably easier to make sense of it. And pretty much, they're going to work together to build the Sunstream Bank Corp. And then this joint venture will focus on making the cannabis-related debt and equity investments in the Canada international markets. And then Sundial and SA Group will each own half of Sunstream. And then pretty much here you can see they're going to create the special opportunities, the 100 mil together, like I mentioned earlier, and then obviously the SPAC. And then basically they have here this little quote: Sunstream will enable Sundial to remain focused on their core operations while leveraging the strength of SAF's private equity and credit investment expertise on a global scale. And then obviously, you know, Motley Fool, they always like plug their stuff. But another article by Investor Place, they also state here this could be a trap regarding the actual Sundial Grower stock, aka they're talking about the earnings now. Obviously, companies, you can't predict exactly what's going to happen, but it's always good to see like stuff that contradicts the positive, just to, you know, give you a little more insight. Maybe you might be thinking with emotion or something, but it's always interesting to see like other cases. And like if you come down here, they just state here why earnings look dangerous, right? And I mean, if you're holding it long term, you believe in the company, then it really doesn't matter what happens in the short term, right? If you're just holding it for the next 5 years, then who cares what happens if it's super volatile, up and down. But if you end up being accurate and you're right with your predictions, then 5 years from now, it's probably going to be doing better than what you get in, right? Assuming, you know, the company's still alive and all that. But they just state here, in fact, the earnings seem a little significantly near-term risk, and they have two core reasons, right? So the first one they state is that still early in the turnaround. So now they say is probably they're not going to be ready to accelerate growth. At least that's what they're stating. And they talked about like how the revenue fell sharply on a sequential basis in the third quarter. And they say it's obviously going to take time to reverse that trend. And they also compare this to another company, which I'll mention in a second, but they say even to a lower price and a lower share counts, investors did not react well to that report, which if you guys have been following SNDL, then you obviously know about this. And then also these stock fell 40% in 5 trading sessions. So they're stating here, to be fair, that decline was exaggerated by a huge rally going into the report. And then again, they do show some, you know, positives, like saying how it doubled from where it was traded before the first red wave hit in late January, and also how it gained 42% the past 7 days. But here's something interesting. They compare this to like other cannabis companies, things in their industry, and they state that the sector technically isn't the most positive, so optimism. So like Aurora Cannabis right here, ACB, they said its highs were undercut by earnings last month and only recently put in a bottom. And then they state even today it's still off by 69% from its recent high of $18.98. And they compare this to other two companies, Canopy Growth and Tilray, and they state that their charts look quite similar to Aurora here. So I mean, we want to just check these out. Let's just type in ACB and let's take a look at these, just to see like what this article is, you know, really saying, just to compare. And I mean, if you look at this, that's like, it's almost identical to like S&D, right? Let's check this out. See how this looks shaped? Dipped pretty low, and now it's back. Now let's just try SNDL real quick. Right, so it's almost, it looks like these cannabis stocks, they have quite the same. Let's check out CGC. Let's see if there's any sort of comparison there. So we got Canopy Growth. Is that the right one I typed in? Yeah, CGC. Like, look at that. Tell me that doesn't look quite almost identical, right? And then obviously we got TLRY. So let's do TLRY. And like, it's literally, I feel like I just looked at the same chart 4 different times. So I think what they're trying to say, again, this is just my interpretation, is that if these other companies don't really change, then Sundial's probably not going to either. Which would, I mean, make sense. They're in the same industry. But again, I mean, if they do, this one does decide to, you know, surge up, then maybe we could see these other companies surge up too. So it's, you know, it's a hit or miss, a 50-50 right here. But again, that's something you guys can do your own research in. And they just talk about the opportunity. Well, I'm assuming if you've invested in this or you're looking to, you're going to do your own research and check it out. But either way is definitely some major updates and news that I want to share with you guys. So if you do want to see more updates like this or any company out there, then feel free to hit that subscribe button. I'm posting more videos every single day. Also, give this video a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm so more people can see this. And aside from that, if you made it this far in the video and you want to get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,850, then be sure to click the first link in the description below. Sign up for an account, and as long as you deposit $100 minimum or more, you'll be able to receive 2 free stocks valued up to potentially $1,850. And aside from that, again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.